Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to this channel if you've never been here before. Thank you for stopping by. So I'm so behind with Married at First Sight, so this is what this video is, as the title suggests. I thought it was going to be too late because it's really late in the evening. Well, not really late, it's 6:30. Goodness for daylight savings, we're on a British summertime here. You'll be able to hear kids because they're out in full force at the minute, but let's go into my notes. I'm going to talk about 4 episodes today, so in effect it's a week, and I've got another week to talk about in another video, but I've got, I think, at least 3 more videos to watch before I can do that. Let's get into this. I need to know what video I last did. Let me see. I think it was episodes 7 and 8, wasn't it? Let me just check. Yeah, 7 and 8. So let's go into my notes and get 9 up. Right, so Married at First Sight episode 9 was the commitment ceremony. I feel like this was the first commitment ceremony then. I'd forgotten this episode by now, so I've just written, in my opinion guys, these episodes, the commitment ceremonies are the best. They get to sit before the experts, and a lot of the time there's a lot of drama, so it's quite entertaining. I love the dinner parties too, there's always something happening. Let's see what today brings. So, Mel and Josh. Josh looked so awkward talking to Mel after last night's row. He said he wanted to walk yesterday, and the reason for that is because he feels like she doesn't want to get to know him as a person and is treating Josh like a sex object. It's going to be interesting to hear what the experts have to say. Brontë and Harrison, controversial couple or what? Harrison is very bitter, says he felt abandoned when they lived separately. At the end of the day, he was triggering Brontë. You can't live in that environment, it's not healthy. Now he's saying it's difficult to have a relationship with Brontë, let alone contemplate being married to her. Is he actually being serious, saying how tough it was? Ah, poor Harrison. Well, it's not been plain sailing for Brontë, has it? She's been very emotional. Caitlin and Shannon are going through tough times after he said to Caitlin that he was still in love with his ex. Claire and Jessie. So what's going on with Claire flirting with Adam, or are the producers trying to make out that he's the cheat that he admitted he was? Janelle and Adam. Adam said that he was keen to know what Jessie was going to say. Would he apologise for storming into their apartment at 1 AM? And why did Adam even go out without his wife anyway? I think it's a set-up. Claire said, this is quite funny because as I'm reading these notes on Married at First Sight, I'm getting kind of a message through from this guy that wants to take me out on a date, so I find that quite hilarious. Claire said that when Jessie got up and packed his bag, she felt unheard and hurt, and said, well, this will be Jessie's time to get his point across, but he tried to do that when he spoke to her. Jessie, since the argument, he's not spoke to Claire. Jessie said that Adam and Claire left the bar in front of everyone and disrespected him and planted that seed of doubt. Did Claire really leave the bar with Adam, or is he just being paranoid? Jessie said that he feels like they don't have a relationship. He said that he can't trust her, and this has brought out the worst part in him, and tonight's decision means so much to him, and tonight he will be making a stand. At this point, the men meet up and the women meet up, usually in groups of 3, and talk about their relationships just to give clarity of whether they should stay or leave. Jessie was talking to Dan, and he said, are you going to share what you are thinking? And he said, oh mate, you are going to hear a story tonight. Jessie said there is a lot weighing on this decision and how he sacrificed so much to be here, and the relationship is not in a good place and he's going to fight for the truth. Lyndall has got a secret which has been weighing heavily on her mind, so she didn't go to meet up with the other women. The drama, she did look really upset though. The producers asked Lyndall why she thinks it's important to tell the truth, and so Lyndall said this was something that she hoped she could take to the grave. It does sound very dramatic, doesn't it? She says there were things that she saw that she didn't agree with, that she owes it to herself to be honest about what she heard, that it's important that everyone should know what actually happened. She said she was nervous as hell, but if she said nothing she would feel guilty forever. When the men sat before the experts before the women came into the room, Harrison called out to Jessie and asked how he was feeling. There was clearly friction between them two. Came across like Harrison was starting something with Jessie. As soon as the ladies came in and sat down, Lyndall and Claire were sat next to each other with their partners. You could tell that the secret was about Claire. First up was no surprise was Jessie and Claire. The experts could tell there was an issue as soon as they sat down on the sofa and asked what was going on. Jessie said there was a blow-up. A group of them went out. Claire and Adam was getting along really well. There was a lot of touching on the shoulders. Jessie said the point when he had a problem with it is when Claire and Adam removed themselves from the environment to be alone. Janelle looked at Adam smiling and Jessie was explaining how disrespected he felt. Jessie said the girls leave the bar at 9:30 p.m. and the men leave at 9:45 p.m. and he somehow beats Claire home. He said he thought he was going to walk back into the hotel room and Claire would be there, and she wasn't. Jessie said he woke up at 1:25 a.m. and Claire was talking on the phone. He could hear Mel's voice on the other end of the line. He's like, what dude is she talking to at 1:30 a.m? Not only that, it is disrespectful when your partner's sleeping to be ringing and speaking to another guy at that time, I think. What do you guys think? This is where Adam pipes up. So you thought you would come into my room and start accusing me, saying show me your phone, coming into my room trying to put a wedge between me and Janelle. You're paranoid, mate. You could just see Lyndall looking more and more anxious. Claire said she was on the phone to her best friend and her best friend's boyfriend. It's like pull the other one, it's got bells on it. Claire said, Jessie, I don't appreciate the aggressive behaviour. One of the experts said, do you still think something was going on that night? And Jessie said, no, I've heard from both Adam and Claire. Then no. Then Lyndall said that she was getting her things to go and Adam said, don't go. If you do, you know I'm going to go home with Claire. Adam said, I would never have said that. John Aiken, one of the experts, said, you're not in a great place right now. You are very abrasive to one another, but it can be repaired. They went to the decision. Jessie wanted to leave. He said that the experiment brought out the worst in him. Claire ought to stay, so what that means is that they have to stay in the experiment for another week to work on the relationship, just to see if it can be repaired. Janelle and Adam was up next. Adam is just so full of it. When he was sat before the experts, he was making apologies to Janelle, Adam and the rest of the group if he made them uncomfortable. Janelle was asked how she was feeling. She said there is no reason not to trust Adam, and until she has reason to not trust him and has that evidence, she will continue to trust him. Let's get one thing right. When they met, Adam and Janelle, Adam was honest and said that he cheated on his last girlfriend, so she has got a reason not to trust him. In terms of how she's feeling, she says she feels insecure. Janelle and Adam decided to stay. Tahnee and Ollie are one of the golden couples. They said their relationship is like a first date that has never ended. That is so cute, isn't it? They were asked how serious it is and Ollie said very serious. Tahnee and Ollie, no surprise, decided to stay. Melinda initially said there was no attraction, and the physical attraction is now there. Melinda and Layton decided to stay. Alyssa and Duncan are another golden couple. Alyssa said that time with Duncan has been magical and that she's falling in like, and Duncan likes Alyssa. The decision was of course to stay. Another one of the show's golden couples, Sandy and Dan. Sandy said the connection is really strong. They haven't been intimate yet, but they have kissed and cuddled and seem to really be getting along. They both really care for one another. Sandy even said she has nothing bad to say about the guy. They both decided to stay. Melissa and Josh. Josh said that he connected instantly from the moment he saw her. That the honeymoon was good, but they had two difficult conversations. The experts asked what the conversations was, so Josh explained that he doesn't feel comfortable talking about sex openly. Mel said that she felt rejected and that she felt he wasn't attracted to her. Moving forward, Mel said that she has taken sex off the table to get to know Josh. Josh said he wants Mel to get to know him. They both decided to stay. John Aiken asked how the couple of weeks had been. Brontë said intense. She's never cried as much. They have been tough weeks, not just for her, for both of them. Harrison, he's so arrogant. Goodness me, he irritates me so much, saying that they haven't been that bad for him, if he's being honest. Okay, so why has he been sulking like a toddler then, and saying he feels abandoned? Now in this group setting he's acting like the big I am. Harrison said, I haven't really seen Brontë for a couple of weeks, so it's been like a holiday. You could see the experts biting their lips. One of them said, do you not think that's bad? Harrison said, I wanted to, but Brontë wanted space and Brontë asked him to leave, and it was better than when we were living together, because all we did was fight. John Aiken said to Harrison, let's take it back to the dinner party, and Harrison was like, do we have to? So he clearly didn't want to be held accountable. John said, a lot came out about your wedding day, and Harrison said, it was a nice stroll down memory lane, yeah. So really being arrogant. Brontë told John what went down on the day of the wedding. Harrison admitted to seeing someone prior to going into the show and that he wasn't not going to live his life and stay faithful to someone he didn't even know, someone that he hadn't even met yet. One of the experts said, why are you here if you can find love on your own? Of course, Harrison said, just because I was with someone a week prior to coming into the experiment doesn't mean that I shouldn't be allowed to find love. How is it any different to if I met Brontë in a coffee shop? One of the experts said, if you meet Brontë in a coffee shop, that's by chance and life manifesting. But when you apply to go into a social experiment and go through the psychological testing and meet with all of us, everything that you had to go through is different than meeting in a coffee shop. John asked Harrison if he had done everything to make this relationship work, and without a shadow of a doubt he said yes. I call bull. Do you guys? I mean, he's not done anything to make it work really, apart from trigger Brontë. What planet does this guy live on, seriously? John said, what have you done? Harrison said, I'm not perfect, but at least I'm putting in 100%. I feel like Brontë isn't even putting in 0. Harrison said, yeah, I should have done things differently. Lyndall said, you broke someone's trust, you didn't do any work prior to coming into the show, and you haven't said sorry to Brontë for everything that you put her through. John said, you need to take accountability, this is a bad look. Brontë said she wants to run as fast as she can, but she isn't a quitter. Harrison wrote leave as he has been living on his own for longer than he lived with Brontë. So what they need to do now is stay for another week and try and repair their relationship. John said, you have one job and one job only, and that is to win Brontë back. Brontë said she feels betrayed and feels blindsided because Harrison wrote leave and she wrote stay. Lyndall and Cameron. So Lyndall said the wedding and honeymoon was both amazing. The relationship is Cameron's first relationship. They asked Cameron what his biggest hurdle, and he said that he hasn't had a relationship before. They both look so happy. They both decided to stay. Caitlin and Shannon. Shannon was up front and said that he might still love his ex. One of the experts said, are you saying, have you come to a decision that you are, or is it a thought? And he said he thinks he is. Shannon was asked when he last saw his ex, and he said before the experiment. He admitted he saw and was intimate with his ex a week before the wedding. So kind of the same situation as what Harrison was displaying. It's just such bad behaviour. They know they're going onto a show to meet a potential love match, and this is basically how they treat the women. Shannon said he wants to put the work in with Caitlin. John just looked really disappointed and said, I'm going to call out some behaviour. Both you and Harrison applied to be part of an experiment that 10,000 candidates applied for, and a week before you came into the experiment you are hanging out with other women, and if you told us this, I'll tell you now what our answer would have been. Not a chance. You're not coming on this experiment. We are looking for single people that are looking for love. It's selfish behaviour, it's disrespectful, it's beyond belief that we're sitting in an experiment, that we are matching men up that are with other women before the experiment starts. You're saying you want to fall in love with someone and you're not 100% committed to it. Harrison piped up, that is bullshit, I made that commitment the moment he walked down the aisle. Did he though? Did he really? I don't think so. John said, from where we are sitting, had we known that you were sleeping with other women outside the experiment, you would not be here, and the fact you can't see this, Harrison, is a big problem. John said, Shannon, if you decide to stay, you will have to win Caitlin back. Caitlin and Shannon both decided to stay. So, let's go on to another day now then. Episode 10, is it? Yeah. So episode 10, this was the start of Intimacy Week. The talk at the start of today's episode was centred around Shannon and Caitlin. Sandy was saying she couldn't believe it was such a bombshell. Melinda said that if that was Layton she would say see you later, and who could blame her. You go on the show to find love, and here is Shannon saying that he's still in love with his ex. Then Shannon had the nerve to say if it was the other way around he would have wrote leave, so here's a lot of making up to do with Caitlin, and he wants to put her first and show her that he is in fact committed. Adam, I just get a dodgy feeling about him. I think he did say to Lyndall that if she went, he would go home with Janelle. Jesse and Claire still living apart. He woke up anxious about what happened in last night's commitment ceremony. He was thinking about Adam and Janelle. Claire, his reputation, what he did, and said his anger got the better of him, and it sucks because he felt like there was a bond growing with Claire during Confessions Week. Jessie said you don't react that way if you don't like someone, and that he will be stepping up this week. Claire said that Jessie needs to step up and make things right this week. So Melissa and Josh. Melissa was so disappointed. She was looking forward to Intimacy Week. She had high expectations, and all Josh was talking about was breakfast. Josh looked more excited about having breakfast, to be honest. Brontë and Harrison. Brontë felt blindsided by Harrison's decision to leave, but seriously, can she really be surprised? They have lived apart more than they have lived together. Apparently Harrison texted Brontë before the commitment ceremony and said he wasn't going anywhere, so that will be why Brontë was confused. Brontë said to Harrison she should have wrote leave, that they are two different people. Then they got into a big argument. Harrison was completely gaslighting Brontë. Harrison was like, I'm not going to allow Brontë to say that I said I'm not leaving. Or what he said was, I'm not going anywhere. It equates to the same thing really, doesn't it? I have to admit, I'm ready for Harrison to leave now. Both the ladies and men went to a workshop with Alessandra. She's like a sexpert. The ladies got a goodie bag which included toys, which a couple of the women weren't much keen on trying out. The men went in next. Harrison said, I'm actually looking forward to this. I might actually teach Alessandra something. Who knows? He's such a jerk, isn't he? The men didn't know what to expect. They were so quiet. I've never seen them as quiet as they were. The men had to set up a romantic, intimate date for their partner. Ollie is recreating the honeymoon that he went on with Tahnee. Ollie and Tahnee went to Fiji, my destination, when they really connected, and wanted to reflect on that and show his romantic side. Tahnee absolutely loved it. She said that no one has ever done anything that thoughtful before, and she rates the date 10 out of 10. So, Dan took Sandy to a beautiful Italian restaurant where they really got to know one another. Brontë and Harrison, the troublesome couple. Brontë and Harrison. Harrison texted Brontë and asked her to go on the date he planned, and she said no thanks. I mean, can he really blame her? He's not been a gentleman to her. Harrison said to the producers while he's planning the date, if someone planned this date for me, I'd love it. He's going to say that, isn't he? He's planned it. He's just such an arrogant man. When Brontë texted him back saying she wasn't interested, Harrison tried calling her and she didn't pick up. He really wasn't happy, back into sulking mode like a 5-year-old. He's like, whether she likes it or not, Brontë and I are still going out on this date. Adam and Janelle. Adam organised a pamper night, gave her some flowers, champagne and a massage. He wanted to show Janelle that he was committed to her. Jessie and Claire. Jessie said he didn't want to put too much romance into the date as they're just not there yet. It's just too over the top. They're not even living together. So Jessie asked Claire to go over to his apartment and had a fun date planned for them. He made a tent in bowling alley with bottles of water and putter and did some food as well. And I would absolutely love that. I love temping bowling. Claire was really happy with the fun date that Jessie had planned for them. Claire asked Jessie if he was annoyed at her for writing stay when he clearly wanted to leave, and does he feel forced to be there. Jessie said he didn't feel forced, but that he's there for a reason, and part of him is grateful as he wants to learn more about Claire and face his inner demons. Claire said to Jessie that when he feels ready to go back to their apartment, he's welcome. But for how long? This couple's like Harrison and Brontë. There just always seems to be in a fight. Bronte's about living alone. She said, what makes Harrison in his pea brain? Does he feel like I'd go on a date with him? He's just said I gaslight him, and I've said I'm done. What more is there to talk about? If that's the case, then why don't they just go home instead of hanging around for their 5 minutes of fame? Is that a little bit too harsh? It's just, if they're not into it, if they're not into one another, go home. How can he work on a relationship without Brontë? Harrison the idiot took his wedding photo on the date and said, are you comfy? Me too, saying it's pretty magical, isn't it? The producer said, do you feel awkward being on this date on your own? And he said, I'm not on my own. I have my wife with me, saying this is one of the best dates he's had in a long time, and that they had done everything he wanted to do. Harrison said, we had fun tonight, shared a lot, it's been great. What a fool. Then he's like, let's go and get some dinner, babe. Then said, in all seriousness, he wants to go back to the couch and say to the experts that he showed up and did the work, and that he feels yet again abandoned by Brontë, and that she's not prepared to do the hard yards of a real relationship. Harrison said it's another nail in the coffin. Melissa and Josh. As Melissa is obsessed with Thor's hammer, Josh went out and bought a Lego of Thor's hammer that they could build together. Melissa loved it. Josh was trying to get to know Melissa, asking about her childhood, saying he doesn't feel like a sex object today and that he feels like they are bonding, talking about their childhoods. Alessandra went to Claire and Jessie's apartment. What Alessandra wanted to do with Claire and Jessie, as there had been so much tension to go back to basics, she said it was important that they learn to trust one another again. So Alessandra asked Claire and Jessie to face one another and hug one another and hear each other's heartbeats. I'm not surprised that she did this because a hug is very, very powerful. You feel so much better after a hug. Jesse didn't like hugging Claire as he finds it awkward, but after a few minutes he found it more and more relaxing, saying it was a touching moment and he would like to do more cuddling. Tahnee and Ollie used everything that came in the goodie bag and seemed quite pleased. Melissa and Josh. Josh said that he feels like his and Melissa's relationship is getting stronger, they are connecting. Melissa was complaining that Josh doesn't cuddle at all when they're in bed. Josh said it's ridiculous as soon as he says good morning to Melissa, she starts on him about not giving her a kiss or a hug, and then it's like Melissa wants a row to start off their day. Melissa said it would be nice to be touched and given a kiss. Josh can't understand where she's coming from, as Melissa went to bed an hour before him and he says he kissed her before she went to bed. Melissa then says, I wonder how the other couples are going. I wonder if Dan cuddles Sandy. Josh said, I don't know, and Melissa said, I'll have to ask her, when she was clearly trying to make Josh uncomfortable. Josh feels like nothing he does is good enough for Melissa, and Melissa said she doesn't feel much comfort from Josh and she's used to her man cuddling her and kissing in the morning, but she can't force Josh to do these things. She said when the person she is with gives her attention, it makes her confident. But to me, I just think, why is this on Josh? It's not really up to him to make sure that Melissa is confident. She should feel that already, shouldn't she? They were in bed together and it was so awkward. Josh was like, time for brekkie. He feels awkward. That's clear to see. Jesse goes to Adam and Janelle's apartment. He wanted to apologise by gifting them some champagne and chocolate. Jesse said he was surprised they was so accepting of the apology, and Adam said he had nothing but respect for coming and apologising and now they can all move past it. Then he went and said goodnight to Claire rather than texting her. Melissa and Josh are having the conversation again. Melissa is saying intimacy is part of the way she loves and she feels like they don't have any, which is a concern for her and it scares her. Melissa feels like Josh has an intimacy issue. She's always confused, and when she talks to Josh, she always feels like she's walking on eggshells. Melissa says Josh complains that he wants an emotional connection. But he doesn't even let her in. Melissa said, I need to hear from you, Josh. How are you going to show me intimacy without having sex? How are we going to get past this? Josh said, am I just supposed to wake up with you every day and have sex with you? Poor man. Alyssa said, you have a problem with intimacy, Josh, and you have a problem with someone getting close to you, and that she feels like she can't break down the walls that he has around him. Josh said he doesn't have a problem with intimacy. I know Melissa sees a relationship as being as physical, and it's not nice her saying all these things to him. Josh said all he ever wanted with Mel is to have a deep conversation to get to know her more. Josh said to Melissa, you don't have the depth to understand what I'm saying to you other than sex. Melissa said, I'm not all about just sex, but that's the way she's being portrayed on MAFSAU. She said that's so far from the truth it hurts me, and that she's flawed that Josh would say that to her. Melissa said, I feel like I'm too dominant for you and this bothers you. It freaks you out that I like intimacy more than you. She's like, what is it? Can you not keep up? And then Melissa said, you know what, maybe my girlfriends were right. They saw the writing on the wall that you weren't man enough for me. Josh said he gave up so much to be in this experiment and he doesn't know what he's doing it for, and he doesn't know if he can continue in the experiment anymore. Then at the end, Josh said, get married. They said it will be fun. They said he looked as miserable as sin. Right, I think I'm just going to talk about one more episode because it's getting quite long, the video, and then we'll move on. Yeah. I'll talk about episode 11 and then maybe tomorrow I'll do the next 3 episodes. So, Married at First Sight, episode 11, Intimacy Week, part 2. Alyssa and Duncan. Duncan prepared a romantic dinner for Alyssa. Alyssa said that they had not had sex, but there was a lot of sexual tension. The producer asked her what was holding her back, and she said it was her upbringing in the Mormon that has been ingrained in her since she was very young, and that she doesn't talk about intimacy and it's seen as shameful to be open about sexuality. Alyssa said they have the spark, the chemistry and the fun, and she said she could definitely be ready to spice things up a bit. Duncan said he wants more of a connection with Alyssa. The more time he spends with her, the more he is attracted to her, and something physical will happen when it happens. So he wasn't kind of forcing the issue. Melissa and Josh, however, is not so good. It's come to a complete standstill. Melissa thinks she's too much for Josh. Melissa said that she and Josh are in such a bad place, and she's envious of all the other couples who are going into intimacy week as they're not doing that. She's on the couch by herself with a wall up, and Josh is on the other side. She said it kills me as she's used to getting comfort from her man, and she's not getting any comfort from Josh. She said it's torture for her. Melissa said that Josh wants an emotional connection, but he won't even let her in. She said she's in a relationship with Josh and she's alone. Melissa said that this is not living, it's not life, and this is not a relationship. Shannon and Caitlin. Shannon has a lot of making up to do, as last week he told Caitlin he was still in love with his ex. This week Shannon said he's pulling all the stops out to make amends. Shannon said this is his opportunity to show Caitlin that he understands what her needs are, and he has been listening to her, and hopefully she won't be disappointed. Caitlin was very happy with the meal, saying she couldn't believe how bang on Shannon got the meal, as she is such a picky eater, and Shannon managed to get her favourite foods and snacks. Shannon also bought Caitlin a plant and wrote a nice card out for her. It was kind of sweet. Let's watch this space with this couple. I'm not sure about Shannon ever since he said he was still in love with his ex. Claire arranged a surprise for Jessie by taking him to her favourite crystal shop. I feel like this isn't going to go well. Claire knows Jessie hates crystals. Why take him there? But he was willing to try because it's important to Claire. Jessie said this didn't make him more in touch with his spirituality, but he did feel closer to Claire, and Claire said that it was a real beautiful day. It's getting darker now, so I've just had to put the light on. We're nearly coming to an end anyway. Brontë and Harrison are living apart. Yet again, their relationship is at rock bottom. This couple just don't get on at all. Brontë has decided to speak to Harrison, doesn't want to repeat old patterns, and think the best course of action is to have a chat with Harrison and tell him what she's thinking. Brontë and Harrison did the eye-gazing task. They actually managed to do the task without any issues. Can you believe that, guys? Melinda and Layton got the eye-gazing task as well, but Layton didn't want to do the task. He said that the task is a piss take. It's clear to see that Layton struggles with building a connection. Melinda said to Layton, when you feel like our relationship is priority, you let me know. Melinda felt like he wasn't taking the task seriously. Alyssa and Duncan had been set a 5-minute task of having a passionate kiss. For 5 minutes there was no problems with Alyssa doing that task. Jessie wrote a list of all the things that he likes about Claire, and Claire said that he did well and said to Jessie, shall we go and get your stuff and you can move back in. At this point Claire and Jessie had been living apart a week. Claire said she's looking forward to Jessie moving into the apartment and what's to come. She even mentioned Jessie being her person. Alyssa and Duncan. Duncan was giving Alyssa a massage. There was clearly a lot of sexual tension there. Alyssa said the next day to the producers that her and Duncan had been intimate. Melinda and Layton. Layton planned a dancing lesson with Melinda to build that connection with her. He admitted that he does struggle with it. Caitlin and Shannon. Caitlin and Shannon did the eye-gazing task. They were both looking forward to the task and building that connection. Caitlin said that it felt really nice looking into Shannon's eyes. Caitlin said that she would like to see that side to Shannon more, but Shannon didn't look at all happy in doing the task, saying to the producers that physical attraction, he didn't know if it was there. Shannon said his feelings are all over the shop and he's been told to step up and make amends to Caitlin, but if the feelings aren't there, he doesn't want to be cuddling up to Caitlin if he feels nothing for her. Caitlin asked Shannon why things were different, and he said the attraction is low and that she was a good-looking girl, just not for him. Shannon said, I thought you were just going to come down that aisle and blow me away, and he said those things with the ex wouldn't have been an issue if I was attracted to you. I mean, how dare he? Has he not seen Caitlin? She's absolutely stunning. Caitlin said to Shannon, I needed a minute because I was gobsmacked by that discussion, and he said you have been gobsmacked by every discussion. Caitlin said she feels like she has a right to be, and she's not wrong. Shannon was trying to interrupt Caitlin and she said, this is my turn to talk, you have had your turn, and Shannon said, What are you, my teacher? Okay, Dad. So he obviously doesn't like being told to shut up, you know, being told to be quiet. I mean, he's talked at Caitlin so much, and when she wants to talk at him, when she wants to defend herself, he doesn't like it. I mean, come on. Then Caitlin said the whole "I'm not attracted to you" speech, "you are a good looking girl, just not to me." She would never say anything like that to him. He degraded her. Caitlin said that when Shannon said that he wanted to be blown away when she walked down the aisle, because if he was, then all of that with the ex wouldn't have happened. That was a kick to the guts. Caitlin said, "I've said to myself, I would never let a guy treat me this way, and if I allow this and just keep copping it, I'm doing a disservice to myself." Good for you, Caitlin. Shannon said, "I'm just going to feel like I have to apologise to you for this now." Caitlin said, "You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me, but you do have to respect me, because I'm a brilliant person, I'm amazing, I'm a one chance person, and I feel like I've been enough. And what I want to say is, I'm not going to sit here and cop it anymore. I deserve better than this." And she packed her bags and left. So that's all 3 of those episodes, guys. I was going to do 4, but it's been quite long, and my voice is feeling it now, so we'll leave it here. We'll come back maybe tomorrow or the next day. Whenever I've edited and put this video up, in a couple more days I'll do the next 3 episodes, and hopefully I'll get to watching the other 3 episodes that I need to catch up on, and they'll be on the channel again soon as well. Sorry it's taken me so long. I promise you I am still doing them. If you like this kind of content, commentary, makeup videos, don't forget to like. It really does help the channel grow, and I massively appreciate it. And subscribe if you're new here. I really massively appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.